welcome to this edition of the Glen Kuiper Show, All Giants. We're glad you're with us. We got a fun show. We got a busy show, a lot to cover. We're going to dig into a couple of interesting things, which I think you're going to like. But we'll start, as always, with kind of preview of the season or the series finale between the Giants and the Diamondbacks. We'll take a look at that. We're going to look at the history of the June swoon. I did some digging, kind of fun. Remember, Giants fans will tell you, the Giants June swoon, it's a real thing. Well, we're going to find out if it indeed is a real thing or if it's a little exaggerated. And because we are through June, heading into July, what I like to do at the end of each month is kind of go back and see who the leading candidates now are for the MVP and Cy Young in each league at the end of June, and who's hot, who's not with some of the teams. So again, we do that at the end of each month. So busy show, a lot to get to. Excited about that. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. We love you subscribers. You guys have been awesome. We've made a lot of progress in a very short time, and I certainly appreciate that. So hit the subscribe button. Come aboard for the Glen Kuiper Show, All Giants. And remember, also, when you go to the channel, we love watching the live shows, but there's also some great videos in there, or the live shows that we've done in the past are still there. They're going to stay there. You can check them out. In fact, on Monday, we did a full recap of the Giants minor league system with Kyle Haynes, who's the Giants senior director of player development for the minor leagues. He was with us the whole show. We covered all the different levels. So check that out if you get a chance. It's on the channel, obviously. So tonight, Giants Diamondbacks, the final game of this 4-game series. Just got a note from the Giants that they did make a roster move today. They called up an infielder by the name of Sergio Alcantara, who was in spring training with the Giants. He's a switch hitter, plays mostly shortstop, has played some in the big leagues, but he hasn't been in the big leagues since 2022. It seems to me it's probably just a move to just add a little depth in that middle infield until the Giants get Chapman back and until they get Casey Schmidt back. But Sergio Alcantara, a switch hitter, mostly shortstop, not a real big guy, doesn't hit for much power, doesn't have a lot of offensive numbers, even in AAA. But again, a depth piece for the middle of the Giants infield, at least for the short term, it looks like. With the move, Daniel Johnson, the Bay Area native who had done some good things backing up in the outfield, Daniel Johnson goes back to AAA Sacramento. So that was the roster move that was just announced by the Giants. So something to keep an eye on. But tonight, though, Robbie Ray faces Brandon Pfaadt. Giants have seen Pfaadt before. In fact, at Oracle Park this year, back in the middle of May, they had a pretty good offensive game against Pfaadt. He's a right-hander, but they knocked him out. He only pitched 4 innings that night. He's got a lot of run support. He's got 8 wins this year, 8-5. So the record is pretty good, but the ERA is almost 5.5. So that's where that run support comes in. But hey, give the guy credit. He's got 8 wins, but he's got a little over 6 runs per game of run support when he starts. So right-hander, that's who the Giants will face tonight. And Robbie Ray, terrific season. He's 8-3. He's got a 2.75 ERA, so he's going to try to get that 9th win tonight. And boy, if you look at his starts this year, talk about consistency. It's been terrific to watch Robbie Ray. I looked up the stats, got a little closer into it, and in 16 of his 17 starts this year, he's allowed 3 runs or less. That's the consistency I'm talking about. In the one start he didn't, he allowed 4 runs. So he really hasn't had an awful start all year. He really has been terrific. He's got 3 losses this year. His last start, he lost where he took the loss, 1-0 to the White Sox. He lost 1-0 at Miami, and he lost a 3-2 game to the Guardians on the last homestand. Those are the 3 losses that he has taken this year. So you got to feel good with Robbie Ray on the mound. He's got a chance to be an all-star, but overall, again, 8-3 with a terrific 2.75 ERA. So that's your pitching matchup tonight. Last night, another, well, should we say torture? That's the word being thrown around now. Well, not now. It's been being thrown around for 15 years, but 6-5 Giants win in 10 innings. No, it wasn't pretty, folks. Nobody's saying it's pretty, but are we looking for beauty points at this point when the Giants struggling? Absolutely not. It was not a pretty win, but they got it. Doval, it was interesting to watch because Doval, he came in the ninth inning. He did not have his slider. In fact, he hung a bad slider to Marte. Marte hits it out to tie the game. The slider was not there in the ninth inning, but he goes back out there in the 10th inning. Bob Melvin said, let's go. We need another inning out of you. And the slider is there. And it turns out he uses it to get the final 2 outs of the game with strikeouts with the guy at third. That would have been the tying run. So Doval scuffled in the ninth inning, but really kind of redeemed himself in the 10th inning, got a couple of big strikeouts. So he gets a blown save, but he gets the win. Offensively, I thought there was some life last night. They had 10 hits. They got 5 walks. And something I've talked a lot about this year, and something they haven't done enough of, the Giants, is just get more action on the bases, more base runners, get more rallies. There's too many 3 up, 3 down innings. Just not anything going on in the bases. There's not enough innings where there's 2 or 3 hits and some extra base runners. Well, we saw that last night, and the number that showed up to me was 13. That's how many at-bats the Giants had with runners in scoring position. So that's the first part of the equation, is you got to get opportunities. And too many times this year, the Giants haven't gotten a lot of opportunities and haven't gotten a lot of hits with runners in scoring position. Last night, they were 4 for 13. So I saw more action on the base pass, more base runners. And I thought that was a good sign. Jung-Hoo Lee had a great game. Maybe that's the start because, man, it has been a long, long slide for Jung-Hoo Lee, but too good of a hitter to keep that going. So that was the player that certainly stood out. He had a single, double, and a triple. And the Giants need that to be the start of something. So it wasn't pretty, but again, let's not go for beauty points here. Take the win, and hopefully it's a little bit of the start of something. And if the Giants can just hold it together until Chapman and Schmidt get back, and they're getting close, then you'll have that full lineup, and then you just see what you got. Is that full lineup enough to get this offense turned around and headed back in the right direction? We don't know that, but the only way to find out is to get that group together for the first time. And when I say for the first time, I mean with Devers in the lineup, because we haven't seen Devers and Chapman and Schmidt, whose at-bats are better. We talked a lot about that. We haven't seen those 3 guys in the lineup together. So that's the best hope I think we have, is get that group together and see what they can do, if they can make things a little bit better. The question is, when's that going to happen? We have not heard anything from the Giants on when Chapman could be back or Schmidt. It's possible Schmidt back on Monday, maybe. That's when his IL stint would be over. So that wouldn't surprise me. Not sure with Chapman. He's dying to get back. I'm sure he'd love to play this weekend against the A's. I don't know that that's going to happen. But anyways, it's getting close to at least Bob Melvin having the full lineup, and then put them out there and see what they can do. But it has been a tough stretch. And, these other teams that the Giants are battling for in this wild card, Dodgers are running away with the West. I don't think anybody's terribly surprised with that. But, the Giants in this stretch, they've lost 7 out of 9. They've lost 12 out of 17. It's been tough. It's been ugly. But, teams go through this. And you look at those other teams in this wild card chase that the Giants are going to be battling with. The Mets. The Mets are in this weird funk. The Mets have lost 14 out of 18. So their scuffle is actually worse than what the Giants are in right now. And that's a Mets team that, we know how much talent they have. These other teams, the Brewers are hot right now. They're playing great baseball. But at the end of the month of May, they were under 500. So it happens. It happens to teams. Look at the Padres. The Padres started the season 14-3. Remember, they had a great start. They and the Dodgers had a great start, but the Padres since then are 32 and 37. So they have not played great baseball. Some of these other teams, the Cardinals, who have been hot, but the Cardinals had a stretch in June where they lost 9 out of 12, but they righted the ship, and they've been a hot team. They're right in this mix now. The Reds in May had a stretch where they lost 9 out of 11. Arizona lost 9 out of 10 in May. So my point is every team, no matter how good they are, they go through these stretches. The same type of stretch the Giants are in right now. But these teams have gotten out of them, and it's just something that every team goes through. The bad teams go through more of them. The good teams go through less of them. It's really simple. But the Giants aren't the Lone Ranger here in tough stretches in the first 3 months of the season. It just so happens, they're in one of those right now. So anyways, that's where it stands right now with the Giants as they get set to go tonight. I guess they're a half game out of the second or the final wild card spot at 46 and 41. So, all right. So that gets you set for tonight. Now we're going to switch gears and dive into something that I thought was kind of fun to look at, again, because we're at the end of June. We're now into July. June is over. And we've heard for forever about the Giants' June swoon. It's a thing. It's got a personality of its own. Longtime Giants fans will tell you the June swoon is the real deal. It happens. Okay. So I thought it was fun. I thought it'd be fun to dig and do a little research. Because listen, why not, right? Is it real? I don't know. Let's find out. The history of the Giants' June swoon. So Giants 13 and 14 this June, right? And it felt a lot worse because of the way they ended, where the last 2 weeks, they just did not play well. But, I thought, well, let's go back. Let's go back to way back. Let's go back to the 60s and the 70s, because a lot of old-time Giants fans will tell you, oh, man, back then it was the June swoon. You knew they were going to go in the tank in June, which I've always found very interesting, right? So I wanted to find out for myself. So I said, I'm going to go way back to the 60s and 70s, and then I'm going to go back to a little more recent history, maybe the last 25 years or years ago. So in the decade of the 60s, right? Now we're going way back. I know, and some of you viewers may not even know about those teams, but we do know that the Giants had some really good teams in the 1960s. The great players, of course, Mays and McCovey, Marichal, and Cepeda, and Gaylord Perry, and we know all the names. In fact, they never finished below 500 in the decade of the 60s. The Giants did. Too many second place finishes, but the point is they had really, really good teams. Their June winning percentage in the decade of the 60s was .519. That's not bad, right? It's not great, but it's over 500. They had 3 losing months of June in the 60s. 1960, they were 11 and 16. That's bad. Okay. But in 1963, they were 14 and 15. In 1968, they were 14 and 16. Not bad, right? So the records, and you can look it up, the records show that a Giants June swoon really did not exist in the 60s. Look it up. Only one real awful month of June in the 60s, and that was in 1960. So did the June swoon start in 1960 or 69? No, I don't think so. So I went to the decade of the 70s. Maybe that's where this thing all got started, this great talking point about how they hit the skids in June, but could have been in the 70s. June winning percentage in the 70s, .460. That's not great, okay? In fact, they were under 500 in the month of June in 7 of the 10 years of the 70s, so that's not great. And they were only over 500 one time, and that was 1978. Remember, they had the great year, got off to a great start. But 1974 may have been the beginning of it all. The infamous Giants June swoon. The Giants went 7-20 in June of 1974. So the Giants' June swoon goes back to the decade of the 70s, and maybe, just maybe, 1974 sticks in people's minds. I don't know. But fun stuff looking way back, okay? But let's bring it a little closer to home. Let's go back to when Oracle Park opened. 2000, right? So 2000 till right now, that's 26 years, including this June. Giants have a winning percentage of 520. That's pretty good, right? 520 is pretty good. So there hasn't really been a June swoon issue in the Oracle Park era of Giants baseball. In fact, the best June in this stretch of 26 years that we're talking about was just a couple years ago. 2023, the Giants won 18-8 in June. Worst June in this stretch, 2007, and again in 2017, they went 9-18. So, okay. But no extravagant numbers necessarily either way, on a consistent basis. So, listen, the records say no June swoon since moving to Oracle Park. Okay, so the myth of the Giants' June swoon could be slightly exaggerated. And I don't want to get in an argument with Giants fans, but my point is I'm just looking at the records, and I don't see as much as I thought I would see as far as June struggles. Maybe that dreaded June of 1974 is where it started it all. And maybe that's the real June swoon. But overall, hasn't been that bad, Giants fans. Just look up the records like I did. It was kind of fun, actually. So that's my digging into Giants history segment for tonight. I hope I didn't bore you too much, but hey, why not check history once in a while? Now, speaking of the end of June, that gets us to we're 3 months into the season. After each month, I like to give you an update on who I think are the top contenders for the Cy Young and the MVP awards in each league. Remember, we did it at the end of April. We did it at the end of May. We're going to do it here at the end of June. And you know what? Tell me what you think. I want to see some comments here before we keep rolling. Our viewers have been great. They just keep coming in. Let's see. All right, good. So we're going to get some reaction, I think, from our viewers on this one. So let's start with the National League MVP. Here are my candidates through June. Now, remember the statistics I'm going to give you don't include Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of this week because that's July. The numbers I'm giving you, or the numbers I throw out, are through June, which ended on Monday. So my candidates for National League MVP are Pete Crow Armstrong. He's been on this list each month. The center fielder for the Cubs, 21 homers, 62 RBIs, 20 doubles, 25 stolen bases. At the end of June, he was 6th in the league in homers, 5th in the league in RBIs, 2nd in the league in doubles, an OPS of 836. His WAR, if you're into WAR, his WAR at the end of June was 4.4. That is the best in the National League. And he's a terrific defensive center fielder. Now, with that said, he did not have a great month of June, but still, the numbers are still there for a terrific offensive team in the Cubs. So I'm keeping Pete Crow Armstrong, the young center fielder, on my candidate list for National League Most Valuable Player. Up next is Pete Alonso. Alonso's been on it as well. 18 homers, 65 RBIs. He's 3rd in the league in RBIs. He's 1st in the league in doubles, 3rd in the league in hits. His WAR is 3.0. He had a good month of June. He had 7 homers, 22 RBIs. So the big slugging first baseman for the Mets is on the list again. Pete Alonso is also hitting 291. Just a terrific power hitter. So he's definitely a candidate. Kyle Tucker stays on the list as well, the right fielder for the Chicago Cubs. I mean, talk about consistent. He just keeps grinding out numbers. Tucker, at the end of June, 17 homers, 52 RBIs. OPS is very good. He's fourth in the league in that. And he's got 20 stolen bases. He's fifth in the league in hits, third in the league in runs. His WAR is 4.1, which is just a little bit lower than his teammate, Pete Grow Armstrong. So I got Kyle Tucker on the list, 5 home runs in June. I mean, if you look at his numbers each month, just super, super consistent. And he's a very, very good a right fielder. I mean, you start looking at this, he's got 20 stolen bases. I mean, he's got a chance to have, 30, 35 homers, 100 RBIs, 40 stolen bases. I mean, this guy is a star, and he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. So, he's going to do just fine. So Tucker's on my list, and my fourth and final candidate is, of course, Shohei Ohtani. At the end of June, he had 29 home runs. He's got another one since then, 54 RBIs. His WAR is 3.9, so it's a little under Armstrong and a little under Tucker. But listen, it's Shohei Ohtani, second in the league in hits, first in runs, second in triples, first in total bases. First, his OPS is 1,021. That obviously leads the league. Remember his month of May, he went crazy. He had 15 home runs in the month of May. Slowed down a little bit in June. He only hit 7. But anyways, and on top of all that, he's back on the mound. He's starting games, kind of a opener for the Dodgers right now, but he'll increase his innings total. So the guy's now pitching. So with these other players who are having great years, I just still, and I'm not a big advocate of the MVP being a designated hitter unless his numbers are so off the charts and he's so dominant that you just have to give it to him. And that's the way I felt about Ohtani last year. And now that he's putting up great numbers again, and he's starting to pitch, and he will be a factor on the mound in the second half for the Dodgers, my top candidate for MVP in the National League, again, is Shohei Ohtani. And like I said, the pitching thing now that he's out there, even though he's only thrown 1 or 2 innings at this point, that's going to increase. And he's such a show. He's the best show in baseball, I think, right now. And it would be very hard to pick anybody else as the halfway point MVP in the National League. So that's what I see in the National League. Now let's go to the National League Cy Young race, which is interesting. I got Logan Webb on the list. Logan Webb took the loss on Monday in Arizona. So right now he's 7-6 with a 2.61 ERA. He's first in innings pitched. He's third in the league in Ks. He's fifth in ERA. He's first in quality starts. He's having a terrific season, but he still takes some tough luck losses, and that's why his record stands at 7-6. Robbie Ray, who's pitching tonight, he's on my list. 8-3, good 2.75 ERA. That ERA is now 8th in the league. But Ray's been, as we talked about at the top of the show, super consistent. I mean, just start after start, he just keeps delivering good outings. And I think he deserves to be on this list. Zach Wheeler, terrific. Zach Wheeler Monday picked up his 8th win of the year. His ERA is 2.27. That's second best in the National League. He's 4th in innings pitched. He's first in strikeouts. His WAR as a pitcher is 4.4, which is just terrific. That's the best in the National League. And just at my late addition to this list was his teammate Christopher Sanchez, the lefty. The Giants have seen him, one of the best changeups in all of baseball. He's got a 2.79 ERA. In fact, that's a little bit better now because he won his last start. And Christopher Sanchez, he hasn't been on my list this year until now. he kind of quietly goes about his business behind Wheeler, but he's a left-hander. Giants could certainly see him next week when the Phillies come to town. So Christopher Sanchez has joined my list of top candidates in the National League for Cy Young. I wanted to put Spencer Schwellenbach in there. Spencer Schwellenbach, who's that? Well, he's from the Atlanta Braves. You check out his numbers, and he has quietly snuck up on people. The problem there is he just went on the injured list. And not great news, a fractured elbow for a young right-hander who's been terrific for the Atlanta Braves. But I took his name off the list. Paul Skeens, what can you say? Skeens is always going to be on this list. The ERA is 2.12. That's the best in the National League. Third in innings pitched. The WAR is 4.4. That's tied with Zach Wheeler. But here's the problem for Paul Skeens, and it's not his fault. He's 4-7. And now with analytics, and I think analytics have come into play a lot with the voting for these awards. Skeens is still going to get a ton of votes when the season comes to a close. But right now, he's just sensational. He's probably the best pitcher in the National League, I'm thinking. But the win total, he's at 4-7 now is his record. And listen to this. He's got one win in his last 11 starts. And his ERA in those 11 starts, folks, is 1.98. So what can you say? The Pirates have not gotten him a lot of runs. Pirates are not a great team. But Paul Skeens is must-watch baseball. So he's there. But my top candidate for Cy Young at the end of June in the National League is going to go to Zach Wheeler. He's just been so consistent. He had a terrific month of June, as did Wheeler. So, excuse me, it's close, and you could certainly make an argument for Skeens. You can make an argument for Logan Webb. But I'm going to give the halfway point end of June Cy Young to Zach Wheeler of the Phillies. So tell me what you think about that. Tell me what you think about my MVP vote of Shohei Ohtani. It just seems like the Ohtani thing just stands out too much. And Wheeler's great, and I just see him a little bit above the other guys. So that's it in the National League. Let's shift now to the American League. And it's become just a terrific conversation with the American League Most Valuable Player Award. And we all know, who we're talking about here with Aaron Judge and Cal Raleigh. But it's become this fascinating baseball conversation. It's what makes baseball so great because everybody's talking about this. It's always been Aaron Judge, and now Cal Raleigh has come out of nowhere. I shouldn't say come out of nowhere, but he is now a factor in this whole thing. And it's super fun to talk about it, and it's going to be interesting what's going to happen the rest of the way. But Aaron Judge, just a terrific season. First in hitting, second in homers, second in RBIs. His OPS is almost 1,200. It's 1180. His WAR, listen to his WAR. And you heard some of the other WAR numbers out there. What did I say with Pete Crow Armstrong? 4.4. Aaron Judge's WAR is 5.9, which is obviously the best in baseball. He leads the American League in runs, hits, walks, OPS. He cooled off a little bit in the month of June. Cooled off a little bit. He only hit 9 home runs. He hit 11 in May. But the point is Aaron Judge having a sensational season. But now, all of a sudden, Cal Raleigh is in the conversation, and I think it's great. Cal Raleigh, at the end of June, 276, 33 homers, and 71 RBIs. The home runs and the RBIs are most in the American League. So he's first in those two categories. Aaron Judge is second. The difference is Judge also leads the American League in hitting, over 350. But the Cal Raleigh thing has become so good because he plays a difficult position, catcher, right? It's tough in the body. But not only does he play the position, but he's terrific defensively. He won a Gold Glove last year. So now you have a catcher who's a Gold Glove catcher. And we know the responsibilities of that position. He's also leading the league in homers and RBIs. That's where the interesting conversation comes in. Remember, he got hot in May. He hit 12 home runs in the month of May. He stayed hot in June. Cal Raleigh hit 11 home runs in June. So that's the great baseball question right now, I think, going around is who's the American League MVP? So my candidate is I'm going to stay with Aaron Judge, but I tell you what, it's not. It's pretty close. I love what Cal Raleigh's doing, and he's become a terrific story this year. And listen, he's been good for a couple years now, but I'm still going to go with Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge does play a pretty good right field, so he's a quality defender as well. So a very tight race, but I am going to go with Aaron Judge at this point. But I can be persuaded if Cal Raleigh goes off again in July. Who knows? I could easily change my mind, but that's where it's at right now. Let's go to the American League Cy Young voting, and this is fun. Max Fried is on my list. Max Fried has been on my list all 3 months. He's 10-2 with a 1.92 ERA. Terrific month of June for Max Fried. So he keeps doing his thing for the Yankees, and he deserves a lot of credit. He's tied in the top spot in the league for wins. He's second in ERA. He's fourth in innings pitched. He's sixth in strikeout. He's doing it all. He's taking the ball every fifth day. So Max Fried, you look at his starts this year, he hasn't really had a bad one. He's been really good in almost every start. And, we're into July now. My second guy is Tarek Skubal. Of course, he was the Cy Young Award winner last year in the American League. Well-deserved. Sensational. I mean, this guy is must-see TV. You talk about a hitter who's must-see in Shohei Ohtani. A pitcher who is must-see is Tarek Skubal. And if you don't know a lot about him, just check out his numbers or make sure the next time he pitches, you get a seat somewhere so you can watch it, whether it be on TV or on your computer or something, because this guy is electric. 2.15 ERA now. That's fifth best in the American League. He's second in the innings pitched. He's first in strikeouts, which is not a big surprise. Listen to these numbers. He made 5 June starts to Tarek Skubal. He won them all. 5-0 with a 1.89 ERA in the month of June. Complete domination by Tarek Skubal. And on top of all that, the Detroit Tigers have the best record along with the Dodgers in all of baseball. Tigers are a terrific story. And on top of that terrific story is Tarek Skubal. So he's obviously a candidate. Hunter Brown. Anybody know about Hunter Brown? He's with the Houston Astros. He was on my list at the end of May. Well, he is becoming a star. He started this season great. He hasn't stopped. He's rolling along. He's 8-3. He has the best ERA in the American League. Hunter Brown, 1.74 ERA, and he takes the ball every fifth day. His month of June, you guys, 5 starts. His ERA was 1.19. So that's how he has climbed to the top of the ERA leaderboard in the American League. But he started to put it all together last year. He had a really nice year last year, and you could tell he had a chance to be special. And now he is special. So Hunter Brown is on my list, the right-hander from the Houston Astros. Jacob deGrom. Did you forget about Jacob deGrom? He's been hurt a lot. But with the Texas Rangers, he's healthy this year, and he looks like the deGrom who pitched with the Mets. He's 8-2 with a 2.08 ERA. That's exactly the kind of numbers that deGrom put up when he was with the Mets. But he's healthy. He has not missed a start this year, which is huge. I mean, that is just huge for him. And it's huge for the Rangers, even though they're not having a good year, but their pitching's been really good. And it's been led by deGrom. And he was 4-0 in 5 starts in June with a 1.41 ERA. He had a terrific month of June. So Jacob deGrom deserves to be on this list big time, even though his team has not had a great year. And my fifth and final a candidate for that Cy Young Award in the American League is Garrett Crochet, who's now with the Boston Red Sox. 8-4, 2.34 ERA. That ERA is 6th best in the American League. But Crochet leads the American League in innings pitched, and he is second in strikeouts. He and Skubal are right next to each other in strikeouts. And in the month of June, he went 4-0. Made 5 starts, went 4-0. So Garrett Crochet is sensational. Another lefty on the list. So it's Crochet, DeGrom, Brown, Skubal, and Fried. And I'm going to go with my top candidate through the first 3 months for the American League Cy Young. It has to be Tarek Skubal. All these guys' numbers are all pretty close. You can nitpick a little bit here, a little bit there, but they all have terrific numbers. Their analytical numbers are very good as well. But I just think Skubal, the way he's pitching now, just completely dominating and doing it for the Tigers. He is my candidate for the American League Cy Young at this point in the season. We'll see if he can hold on. So that's where I'm at with the awards, the player awards. But now, who's hot, who's not? Now we go to the teams around Major League Baseball, kind of based on the month of June mostly. Starting the National League, which team got it going in June? I went with the Milwaukee Brewers. Anybody know what the Brewers have been doing? They're sort of one of those teams that flies under the radar, not a big market team. But they went 16-9 in June. They finished the month strong. And they are now just a couple games behind the Cubs in the National League Central. Remember, the first couple months, the Cubs were just kind of running away with that division. But the baseball season is so long. There's this ebb and flow, and teams get hot and teams struggle. Well, the Brewers got hot in June, and now they're right in the middle of the race in the Central, and obviously very much in the middle of that wild card race. So the Brewers are a team that, if you're a Giants fan, you need to keep an eye on them because of that wild card race. But they were the team that caught my eye in the National League in the month of June. Now, the team that has been disappointing me, and this is more of a season thing, and that's the Atlanta Braves. They did not have a great month of June. They went 11-15 in June, but it's been a year-long thing so far in the first 3 months. Remember, they started the season 0-7, so they did not get off to a great start, but they just haven't been able to regroup. They've been over 500 just one day this year. And this is the Atlanta Braves. They are loaded. Look at their lineup. But they just can't get it going now. They got some injuries that are starting to pile up. I mean, we mentioned the Schwellenberger, and Chris Sale is also on the injured list. Think about those two guys right there. I mean, those are two Cy Young candidates, and they're both on the injured list. But the Braves, I just have not been able to figure that out, how they are not a better team, not just in June, but really all season long. So they were my disappointing team, but we also could have put the Mets in there a little bit too. The Mets finished the month losing 13 out of their last 16. As we talked about at the top of the show, they're now in second place. So the Mets, with all that talent, they had a bad ending to the month of June, but the Braves are my disappointing team, really kind of for the whole year so far in the National League. Now let's shift to the American League, where my red hot team was the Houston Astros. The Houston Astros. Talk about just knowing how to do it and figuring out how to win. They went 19-7 in the month of June. They finished strong. They won 14 out of their last 18. When June started, they were in second place, a half game behind the Seattle Mariners. When June ended, they had a 6.5 game lead in the AL West over the Mariners. So there you go. They picked up 7 games in the standings thanks to a 19-7 June. The Astros are amazing to me. We've seen what they've done the last 10 years, right? But look at what happened in the offseason. They lost Kyle Tucker and Alex Bregman, two of the best players, all-around players in all of baseball. They lost them both. One left as a free agent. The other one got traded. Think about losing those two guys. But think about the last 7 or 8 years. It started with them letting George Springer go. Remember, Springer was a free agent. They let him go. That was a while back. And then Garrett Cole left. Verlander left. Carlos Correa left. So they make decisions about not signing star players, but it's working. They have done a fantastic job of building a winning culture there over the last 10 years, and it shows. And I mentioned Bregman, and I mentioned Tucker. Yordan Alvarez, who's a terrific offensive player, Yordan Alvarez has only played in 29 games this year. So he's missed a whole ton of games. So they've been without Alvarez most of the year. They don't have Bregman. They don't have Tucker. And they're in first place, a big lead in the AL West. Give it up for the Houston Astros because they have figured out how to win no matter who they have. And that is what a winning culture is. When you can let guys go and not worry about it, fill in where they left, but have a winning culture knowing that when you come here, whoever's gone, when you come here, we're going to win. And they just continue to do that. Kudos to the Houston Astros. My disappointing team, or in this case, teams in the American League, well, there are 3 from the AL Central. It's the Twins, the Guardians, and the Royals. They all entered the month of June over 500. They all left the month of June under 500. Listen to this. The Twins went 9-18. The Guardians went 9-16. The Royals went 8-18. All those teams were right in the wild card mix, big time. And remember, that division sent 3 teams to the postseason last year, the AL Central. But right now, those 3 teams have gone backwards. And as they go backwards, the Tigers roll on. And the Tigers have the biggest division lead in all of baseball right now. They have an 11.5 game lead in their division. They have played great. Those 3 teams have hit the skids big time. So Twins, Guardians, Royals are my 3 disappointing teams at the end of June. That's it. I hope you liked the show. I tried to have some fun. The June swoon, what do you think about that? And what do you think about my MVP picks? You know what? Let me check some of the comments just to see if there's anything anybody wants to ask. Bake the Dough, our good friend Bake the Dough says, the fact that the Cubs have 2 top MVP candidates is crazy. Imagine a co-MVP. That does happen. So that has happened. I want to say, and I'm guessing here, and somebody help me out. I want to say that in 1979, Dave Parker and Keith Hernandez were co-MVPs in the National League. I'm guessing it's off the top of my head, but I think I'm right there. But I just think it's going to be hard for anybody to knock off Shohei Ohtani. So a lot of the comments are talking about tonight's game. It looks like our fans are ready. It looks like they're feisty tonight. They're still not happy with what's going on. Web 47 says they need to trade Bailey and Tiley, and Willie is a joke. Okay. All right. Well, he's the Giant shortstop for a while. I don't know if I'd go as far as say he's a joke, but let's hope he gets it going in the second half. Yeah. So you know what? That's good for the comments. And remember, folks, hit the subscribe button. And also check out some of the other videos we got on the YouTube channel. There's some really good stuff out there, and we got a lot of good stuff coming as well. So kind of a cool Clayton Kershaw video that's going to be coming out. So you want to check that out as well. So hope you enjoyed tonight's show. Thought we'd have a little fun, see if the Giants can get a win tonight in Arizona, and then head to Sacramento. I'm going to be at the game on Sunday night in Sacramento. The Giants and the A's, looking forward to that. So thanks for joining us, everybody. Again, you can follow me on Twitter at Kuiper Baseball. But most importantly, hit that subscribe button. And we love you guys. Thanks for your support. And we'll see you in a little bit for our next show. Have a good one, everybody.